2 caused significant delays. In North Yorkshire, a collision on the A1M southbound between junction 49 and 48 closes 2 lanes, delaying traffic for an hour. Warwickshire's A446 northbound experiences 10-minute delays. The A12 southbound in Essex causes 10-minute delays. And on the trains, East Midlands Railway faces major disruption between Bedford and London St Pancras International, while Grand Central services are severely affected between Peterborough and London King's Cross. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Let us take on some of your financial stresses and pay your mortgage or rent for the next 12 months. We want to give you a cash lump sum equivalent to 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, up to an unbelievable £20,000. We'll also boost that by a further £5,000, so you really could have some fun in the coming year. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Well, hello there and happy Friday to you. It's 6 o'clock. I'm Michelle Dewberry and this is Dewbs & Co. Coming up tonight, protests have commenced across the country as mothers, fathers, children, residents stand up and say no to the illegal migration hotels in their neighbourhoods. It won't surprise you to know that the counter-protesters are also out. We've got reporters live at these protests.
Stand Up to Racism have arrived here in Aldershot, but also behind me we've got the original asylum protest taking place against the Potters International Hotel, being led by mums who say that enough is enough and they have safeguarding concerns.
Fascinating stuff. So we've got all of that and more. Keeping me company tonight, I've got Charlie Downs, the writer for the Daily Mail and campaigns director of Restore Britain, and Julia De Silva, the broadcaster and commentator. But before we get stuck in, let's cross and give you your 6 o'clock news headlines.
Hello there, very good evening to you. I'm Aaron Armstrong. A schoolboy who stabbed another pupil to death on their lunch break has been found guilty of murder. Harvey Wilgoose was stabbed in the heart by another 15-year-old boy who'd brought a hunting knife to school. The court heard how many pupils fled in fear and panic after the attack at All Saints Catholic High School in Sheffield earlier this year in February. Now, the defendant, who cannot be named because of his age, admitted manslaughter but denied murder, saying he'd snapped after a long period of bullying. Germany says it's suspending military exports to Israel in response to Benjamin Netanyahu's plan to take control of Gaza City. The proposal, which would displace around 1 million residents, is being seen as the first phase of a full takeover of the entire strip. It's received widespread condemnation from international partners. Sir Keir Starmer says it will only bring more bloodshed, labelling the plan wrong. He's urged the government to reconsider. The UN has warned of catastrophic consequences. However, the plan's not been opposed by the White House, Israel's most important ally. Vice President J.D. Vance has been meeting the Foreign Secretary David Lammy at Chevening in Kent. Today, Mr Vance says the UK and the US have disagreements over Gaza. He's confirmed Donald Trump has no plans to mirror the UK in recognising a Palestinian state. The Foreign Secretary David Lammy says the situation in Gaza is of great concern.
What we all want to see is a ceasefire. What we all want to see are the hostages come out, and we are hugely concerned by the humanitarian suffering that we're seeing in Gaza particularly. So it is bringing that to an end that we want to see. I am concerned about what is developing in Gaza at this time and the recent decision by the cabinet, and hugely concerned, as I think a lot of Israeli people are, about the impact, particularly on the hostages.
An investigation into allegations that South Yorkshire police officers took part in historical sexual exploitation in Rotherham will now be carried out by the National Crime Agency. The allegations are being investigated by the force itself, leading to criticism over a potential conflict of interest. 5 women have come forward to say they were exploited by grooming gangs in the town when they were children and also were sexually abused by officers. 3 former officers who worked for the force in the past have so far been arrested. Finally, a yellow heat health alert's been issued for much of the country for the start of next week. The UK Health Security Agency says the alert, which covers London, Yorkshire and the Humber, East Midlands and the South West, will be in place from 12 o'clock on Monday to 6 o'clock on Wednesday evening. It may well impact health and social care services because of those high temperatures. It is the 4th heatwave we will have experienced in this country this summer. Those are your headlines. Now it's back to Michelle.
Tune into GB News Radio wherever you are, online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Thank you very much for that, and hello, happy Friday to you. I can't help but comment on that last story. Yellow heat health warning. Isn't it just summer? Summer? Am I missing something? Why do we have to be so ridiculous in this country? Anyway, look, Michelle Dewberry with you till 7 o'clock. Charlie Downs, the Daily Mail writer, and Judita De Silva, the broadcaster and commentator alongside me. Apparently, I called her Judith or something earlier on. I don't know where that was coming from, so I do apologise. Hello, Judita. And also to you, Charlie. Each and every single one of you, very welcome tonight. Join the conversation in all the usual ways. Without further ado, let me cross live to our reporter, Charlie Peters. He is in Aldershot.
Well, Michelle, the protest here has been taking place for just about 20 minutes. Just to my left, you can see the demonstration outside the Potters International Hotel, just in the distance. And the last 5 minutes or so, this group, the Stand Up to Racism counter-protesters, have marched down the streets. They're saying that refugees are welcome here. They said, stop the hate, stop the fear. I just walked through the crowd a moment ago. Nobody would speak to me. One man said that everyone over there were Nazis. We're going to try it again, Michelle. This is the People's Channel. We want to speak to everyone and all perspectives. So let's just try it again. Come with me if you can. Sir, do you want to speak to us about why you're here today? Okay, they're Nazis. He's calling us Nazis. He won't speak to us. Would anyone want to speak to us about your protesting here? Hello, sir. Why are you protesting here today? Okay, thank you. We're going away, unfortunately, but we're trying our best. We're trying our best. We're not a comedy show. We're a news channel. We're a very good one as well. Well, look, Michelle, nobody wants to speak to us. It's a shame. People on the other side have engaged with interviews. We heard one woman saying to us that she's never attended a protest before, but she turned up here today in Aldershot because she's so concerned about what's happening to her local community. And if you just look at some of the signs behind this lovely Morrison's lorry, you'll see them saying, look, no apartments for illegals. People here saying that there is so much demand for housing in Aldershot and in Farnham, the nearby area, and instead they're seeing an entire hotel being used to support asylum seekers, the majority of them young men. And Michelle, we spoke about it in Epping 2 weeks ago, and it's the same theme here. This protest to my left being led by women concerned about the safety of their children and their grandchildren. They were telling me that for the first time in their lives, they have to look over their shoulders. They're uncertain because they don't know who's been brought into their community. The people behind me describing those people as Nazis. We'll show you that clip later. Well, we spoke to a woman called Millie, and she said her grandfather fought in Europe, fought against Nazis, fought in the First World War as well, and to be described as fascists and Nazis, she said she just couldn't believe it, couldn't understand it. We've tried to speak to them, we've tried to engage with them and hear more about their perspectives. Unfortunately today, they don't want that to happen. I think I've got a bit of footage I can throw to you now of that incident a moment ago. No, I don't. We don't have that. But look, I mean, this is the size of the group here. We can see no Islamophobia, no anti-Semitism, refugees welcome, stop the far right. This man wasn't happy for me to walk around earlier, but as long as I show the signs, he seems to be okay with that. And this is a problem we've had before as well, people putting their signs in front of our camera. It's a free press in this country. We just want to speak to people where we can. This man trying to do the same. But there we go. I mean, all we can do is our jobs, Michelle. All we can do is our jobs. This chap very agitated. But what he hasn't got, unfortunately, is a voice. He's failing to come forward and speak to us. He doesn't want to do that. He just wants to agitate next to me. So why are you protesting today? Are you from Aldershot?
No comment.
No comment. It's like it's a police interview. But there we go, Michelle. We've done what we can, trying to speak to people gathering here. They don't want to engage with us. We might go back on the other side and see if we can get some more interviews later. We'll join you later in the programme.
Charlie Peters, thank you very much for that. It's a shame that these guys, honestly, I try my best, everyone. I try my best to listen to all perspectives here. But as you could hear there, Charlie was trying to ask these people, who are you? Where are you from? They're sitting there with their face masks on. I don't know who they think they are, the way that they're pushing the reporter, pushing the camera away. These people, I would bet my bottom dollar that the majority of these people are not locals. They seem to rock up wherever they seem fit to dictate that the local people have to accept these men in their communities. If I put up the flyer for this protest, you will see it was called the Pink Protest for the Safety of Women and Girls. It was basically saying, let's stand together against the danger posed to women and young girls by unidentified men in our community. Wear pink to show your support, your strength and your solidarity. Calling these people Nazis and far-right scum is so disgusting. Honestly, they should hang their heads in shame, those people. Anyway, sorry. I'm trying, everyone. I am trying my best to remain nice, and but it is such a... Anyway, go on, Charlie.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty bleak to look out at the landscape in our country right now. But, I mean, for me, the great irony of these protests and the so-called counter-protesters is they are essentially foot soldiers of the state. I mean, they receive their funding largely from unions and also certain local councils. And so really what we're looking at here is, the asylum hotels are paid for by taxes. The police officers are paid for by taxes. The so-called counter-protesters are paid for in part by taxes. And the only people standing up against the state are like ordinary mums and grandmothers and parents and all the rest of it. And so it shows you really who the state in this country actually seeks to serve. It's not ordinary people, it's their client groups, like those who cross the channel. Because it seems to me that if this problem was dealt with at source, which is to say, mass legal and illegal immigration was actually meaningfully dealt with, truth, I don't think you wouldn't see these protests, you wouldn't see the threats of unrest and disorder, you wouldn't need the police presence in these local communities, you wouldn't have the concerns by local people of sexual violence against their children by these people, because we can't forget that since 2018, 75% of those who have crossed the channel in small boats have been adult males, and we know that many of those passing themselves off as children are in fact adult males as well. And the three most common nationalities of those crossing the channel are Pakistani, Afghan and Iranian. And we know that those nationalities and people from those regions of the world often over-index in our statistics when it comes to things like sexual violence. Like, for example, we know that Afghans are 22 times more likely than British nationals to commit sexual assaults.
But there's been some people trying to push back against that claim, saying that that's not accurate.
Well, I mean, I've read these stories. I mean, to me, it just seems like kind of it's playing statistical games to try to discredit what is actually, seemingly true if the evidence of our eyes is to be believed about the number of these people who are in our prisons, foreign nationals from other countries, from countries like Afghanistan. And I don't buy that. I mean, sure, maybe that statistics are 22 times more likely to commit sexual assaults is, to be honest with you, even. No, never mind. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there, Michelle. I think the point is that if you welcome in unvetted, fighting-age males from the most violent regions of the world, you're going to get violence in our country. And I think that's what these mothers and grandmothers are so scared of.
Judita, your thoughts?
I've got to take everything in bullet points. First of all, categorising certain countries as the most violent places, you don't have any valid information to back that claim. That's just a sentiment you have. And you have to unpack what lies within you to motivate that sentiment. And it's the kind of information, the kind of propaganda, the kind of imagery that's constantly flooding people when it comes to the narrative around certain peoples. The second thing about the statistics, you can weight, maths is the way it is, it operates the way it does, you can weight statistics. If you take a small percentage of the population, and within that small percentage of the population, how many of them commit a certain crime, you're going to get a high percentage. But when you look at the crime overall, they're not negligible, but they are a marginal percentage of the whole, because mathematically, they are a minority. Because what concerns me is that, do you care about the sexual assault of young girls, of girls, period? Or do you care when sexual assault is done by Pakistani males? That's what terrifies me, because imagine the narrative being pumped to all the victims of sexual assault that, oh, these people in my country only care when a Pakistani male does it. Whereas for me, no, anyone who does it should be burnt at the stake as far as I'm concerned. But you always have to understand that, again, what fuels your desire to care more when this person commits a crime than to care when anyone commits that kind of crime?
I'll answer that. It's because the people from those countries are here as part of government policy. Mass migration, legal and illegal, is a government policy. So every act of sexual violence committed by one of those people is directly downstream from decisions made by our leaders, whereas those committed by people who are from this country, it's still evil and it still warrants, in my opinion, in many cases, the death penalty. But it's a different phenomenon, because what we're dealing with is indigenous crime as opposed to the crime of foreigners brought here as a part of government policy.
OK, so then take a step out and unpack the whole. First of all, when things get this bad, like everyone can agree, it's not going to stop. It's a back and forth. When you look at the actual protesters, what you have, I believe, is responsory, where you've seen far-right, violent protesters attack police officers, try to burn down hotels, be very violent, and they said, we're going to match the energy. It's fire with fire. They come with masks, we come with masks. They come with aggression, they come with aggression. And unfortunately, what gets lost in the fray is the average mother or grandmother who's just concerned and feels no one's listening. But like with all of these movements, those who shout the loudest tend to be the most extreme. But again, it is unfortunately on the burden of protesters, because I'm a socialist at heart. I believe in free protest, let your voice be heard. You have to you have to distance yourself, because far-right extremists do co-opt the average Joe and the average Jane trying to make their voice heard in a traditional socialist way.
Do you think that far-left extremists
absolutely
boycott the other side. Why are you only mentioning the ones on the right, then?
I can speak for the protests that I've been part of, because we always do it because there's always a pressure on us to do it. Take, for instance, the Black Lives Matter. When you had people stepping out of top, all of us from social media on the streets were saying that that's not us, that does not represent us. We condemn that. Unfortunately, while you're fighting for your cause, you have to regulate those representing the cause. That's how it happens, because there will be opportunists that co-opt it and compromise it. Now, the point I was making about getting a bit more meta about everything is, how did we get here? The fact is, the country is in a state where people are frustrated. People are angry, and justifiably so. People feel they have less money. People feel that their lives are not going in a direction that they want them to go.
They're not on the streets because they feel like they've got less money.
I'm trying to get the narrative as in, you've got people that are frustrated for a multitude of justified reasons. What you have is a hotbed of anger and nowhere to point it. So then when you have important people with platforms steering it in a direction that can potentially become violent, you have a responsibility that you're exploiting.
Well, look, there's a lot to unpick and unpack, and I think actually Juditha makes an interesting point. What is, do you think, at the heart of the sentiment, the strength of feeling outside in communities up and down the land? Is it as simple as just saying it's asylum hotels? Is it deeper than that? Many of you will share these frustrations. Tell me, what is at the heart of it? After the break, we'll be going to another one of those protests. I'll see you in a few minutes.
This is our country, and we think it's amazing. From high tea to the high street, we love it all. Even the rain, we like that too. There's nowhere else we'd rather be. That's why we're here to be the fearless champion of Britain, its voices and its values. Because we are GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dewbs, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record. You say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Dewbs & Co. With me, Michelle Dewberry. I've got Charlie Downs and Judita De Silva alongside me. Now, we've got protests taking place across the country, and we've also got counter-protests taking place as well. We started off in Aldershot. We will be returning there soon. But for now, I'll cross you over to a different one. This one in Altrincham. Sophie Reaper, our reporter, is live there now. Sophie, what's happening there?
Well, Michelle, as you rightly say, we've got protests and we've got a counter-protest here as well. Both sides in good voice here this evening in Altrincham. And the reason for that is the hotel you can see behind me, the Cresta Court Hotel. Last year, the council announced that it was being closed in order to house approximately 300 asylum seekers. That was a decision made by the Home Office, and that was met with much chagrin from this side of the protest. You perhaps can't see, Michelle, because there are so many people on this side of the road. But if we make our way just onto this direction, in the middle of the road, you see quite a heavy police presence, and that is because they're separating this side of the protest to its counter-protest taking place over the road. You'll see signs over there saying things like "Refugees welcome," "Stop the far right," "Racists go home," and they themselves are having their own protest against the protest that's taking place on this side of the road. I think we can speak to a couple of the protesters on this particular side of the road now. Lisa and Michael, thank you for joining us here on GB News, both of you. Speak to me about why you felt it was important for you to come out and stand on this side of the road here in Altrincham this evening.
Well, this is the first time I've done this, but I've had enough of it. And I think I speak for a lot of people. And just tonight, I've noticed that all the people pipping their horns, all the motorbikes and the cars and the vans, they're not doing it for this lot over here. They're doing it for us, and we're cheering. But we want to get our voice heard. And I was one of them that was cheering a few weeks and months ago, but this is my first time I've been here, and it's a good atmosphere. And we need to get the government to do something instead of them lying to us. Keir Starmer said he's going to smash the gangs, and he's obviously got no intention at all of doing that. He's just going to continue to lie to us. He's had enough opportunity. He's been in office more than 12 months, and he's done zero.
Lisa, the first thing you said to me this evening was you're just a normal mum, but you felt you had to be here this evening. Tell me why.
Yeah, I've never really got involved in politics before. I'm fed up of people like them across the road calling us far right, because I'm not far right. I'm a concerned British citizen. I've paid my taxes since I was 17 and I got my first job. I've worked all my life. I don't want my money or anyone else's money being put on illegal immigrants. They are illegal. They're not genuine refugees. This country is in massive debt. They're being put before British people. They're getting free health, free dentists, free everything, housing. We're not putting British people first. And I am really, really concerned as a mother, because these are unchecked people. They are, they're coming in en masse on boats. Keir Starmer is doing absolutely nothing about it. And it's a real, real worry. And all we're hearing is that they do not respect our British values. They're a threat. They think most of them are Muslims. They think we're infidels. They will not adapt to our religion. So it's not about integration. They are having their own mini communities, and I just do not feel safe. And my big concern is, if we think back to when Princess Diana died, and they said the Queen initially ignored, and she didn't listen to the British public. King Charles, I will ask you today, what are you doing about this? Are you listening to your British public? Because I think you are tone deaf.
Michael, I just want to bring yourself back in. This is a very complex issue. I think both sides of the road would agree on that. I'm not expecting you to have an answer, but we can hear chants here of send them back. What would you suggest? You say Sir Keir Starmer's doing nothing about it. What would you have him do here today?
Well, it's really, really easy. It's not hard at all. First of all, you don't give them any benefits for coming into this country, because we all know they're only here for one thing, and it's not the weather. So the next thing I would do is contact the Royal Navy and start patrolling our shores like they are itching to do. And Nigel Farage has already said he's going to be doing this, and we've got a long time to wait. I fear it's going to be too late, because just look at all this now, and they're saying this is sustainable. It's not my opinion. You can see yourself. it's actually quite desperate, and this is why I thought that that we should come tonight.
Lisa, I'll just give the final word to you. You can see all those people over there. They're saying that this side are racist, as you say. They're saying far right. What would your message, if you could get on that megaphone and you had a message for the people over the road, what would that message be here tonight?
I guess I'm fed up of it. The only thing they seem to have, and I think they're using it as a weapon, and it's a distraction, is to say that we're racist. I've got my family, I've got black people in my family. It's not about race, it's not about colour, it's about the fact that we, as England, as Britain, we're being taken as mugs. The boats are coming in daily and daily, and if I was, Keir Starmer, if I was not doing my job properly, I'd be sacked. How is this being allowed to happen? He should be sacked. He's incompetent, and it is costing Britain millions, billions of pounds, and it's nothing to do with race. It's about putting British people first and not putting us at risk.
Lisa, Michael, thank you so much for speaking to us this evening here on GB News. You can hear there, Michelle, that these are just local people here in Altrincham, and emotions for them are very, very high. And it's a similar story on the other side of the road. The people on that side of the road, they feel that they're just speaking the truth and that that's their opinion, and that's the same over here. So tensions are high. The police are doing what they can to keep the two groups separate at the moment, but the night is still young here in Altrincham, and we'll be here on GB News, bringing you the latest as it comes in.
I've got to say, I think spirits actually seem quite high there. Sophie, for now, thank you very much for your reporting on that protest. Obviously, it goes without saying that Keir Starmer's not sat next to me, and I assume if he was, he would push back on a lot of what was just suggested there. The Labour Party have issued a statement saying our government could not be clearer in the action that we're taking to tackle illegal migration, or our clear commitment to end the use of asylum hotels. Just this week, they say, we've announced a further £100 million of investment in our border security, supporting up to 300 new National Crime Agency officers. I've got to tell you, that lady there, that protester that was talking to Sophie, was it Liza, I think her name was? She said something, and it really kind of summed up a lot for me. She said that she feels that we are being taken as mugs. It really resonated with me. Did it with you? Charlie, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I think that our good nature is being used against us. And moreover, I think we have this outdated legal infrastructure when it comes to things like asylum and human rights, which was really created in the aftermath of the Second World War to deal with people who were genuinely fleeing persecution on the continent, but which today is being taken advantage of by chancers from all over the world who are not legitimate refugees. As I said, the primary countries that, or the most frequent nationalities coming over the Channel illegally are not from war-torn countries. And so these are people who are basically seeking to take advantage of this system, which provides them by law with shelter, clothing, money, etc. And then once they get their refugee status, they are immediately able to claim universal credit. They're able to use the NHS. And so we have this very soft touch, which I think is, as Macron said, attracting people to Britain. And when, when I'm agreeing with Macron, I mean, something's got to be pretty bad. But on that very topic, actually, with the Labour government saying today that they are meaningfully trying to tackle this issue, I mean, I think that's total nonsense, because the deal with the French is not going to work. It's not a deterrent to have this one-in, one-out system. And the idea that they are now, they're saying that they're not using asylum hotels. Well, that's because they're moving these people into houses of multiple occupancy, which is even worse. I mean, the hotels is not great, but at least they're all kept in one place, and often with security guards. If they're being moved into HMOs in local communities, there's no security, and these people can just wander around and do what they want, which in many cases is commit acts of violence towards local people.
I've got to say, for some reason, the Labour Party seem absolutely adamant. Charlie's mentioning one in, one out, which, obviously I think it's about 17 in, one out. But the Labour Party seem adamant that that is going to be the solution to fix all of this. Do you share that optimism? Juditha, your thoughts on it all?
First of all, when it comes to the lady and the gentleman that were interviewed...
Lisa and Michael, I think it was.
Lisa and Michael. When you hear them articulate their point of view, it's straightforward, it's clear, it's understandable. These are just everyday people who are living an experience that has driven them to frustration. You can't rage against that. I don't believe anyone would rage against that.
Well, those pillocks across the road are.
No, that's what I'm trying to say about when you have to create a delineation within the protest ranks, that there are people who will co-opt the integrity of what those two people are doing to espouse their quite extreme and discriminatory points of view. That's why there has to be a clear and very vocal separation. That's one point. The other thing about when you're saying Keir Starmer's not doing anything, the Labour government isn't doing anything, this is an inherited problem. It's
gotten substantially worse during their reign.
Yeah, it has, because when they stopped processing
Sorry, carry on.
When they stopped processing asylum applications during the COVID era, it's basically compounded. Then they inherited it. It didn't stop the boats coming in. With the one in, one out, what you're trying to do is a multi-pronged attack. It's not going to be the singular solution, because immigration is a very big problem. It's not the singular solution. The point of this is that you're making a chokehold. The problem people talk about, we don't know who they are, we don't know where they come from, they could be criminals, they don't integrate. With the one in, one out, you're already advertising that when you come, you're probably going to get sent back. That is a first deterrent. The next one is when you're bringing people in, they've already been processed offshore in France. So you're getting an influx of people that you know who they are, you know their background, they have been vetted, and they're going to be decent, contributing people in the country. So that removes the element of fear. So to basically say that when they're presenting a solution that is directly addressing all the points you have said you have an issue with, and say it's rubbish, it's not going to work, give it a chance to work. And everyone has to understand that the size of this problem will not have a quick solution. And the size of this problem cannot be solved singularly in isolation by Britain. You need collaborators. You need Europe. Because let's say in Nigel Farage's utopia, we have a reform UK government, and he's now on his white horse and he's throwing out all the immigrants. Where is he going to throw them? What planes is he going to put them on? How much is it going to cost? You need money. You need collaborators, you need locations to send them. That's all is going to depend on him doing exactly the same kinds of infrastructure building that Keir Starmer is doing right now. So it's one thing to condemn people doing work just because you're not the one doing it, but should he get into power, he will do an iteration of exactly the same thing.
How are you so sure, by the way, that these people, like you're going, oh yeah, we're going to get these people from France and they're all going to communicate, so they're going to integrate and contribute into society? How do you know that?
No, because if they've been vetted, you know who they are, you know where they've come from.
But as far as I understand it, the French authorities, they don't have to provide all of this and lots of this background information to us about these people.
Based on my understanding of it, is that part of the process that happens in France would do that. So by the time you're getting them in this country, all of that work, which won't be at your cost, it's at France's cost, it's going to be presenting you with someone that you have a record of who they are, where they came from, and therefore you can track them when they get here. So should they commit a crime, it's an easier process to dole out punishment. And also the terminology under which you come to the country can also be tweaked, because should you then come and misappropriate the opportunity you've been given as an asylum seeker, punishment will be inevitable. So all the things that you're like, even listen to what the lady said.
Judita, right? I think we've got to cut to the chase. And this is not about being mean to other individuals. Britain is a very tolerant nation. We're a very kind, generous, giving nation. People are welcome and all the rest of it. But we've reached a point now where people are saying, like, enough now. Unfortunately, with regret, there are conflicts all over the world. There are displaced people all over the world. That is very traumatic. That's very, no one would wish that for anyone. We have a very generous foreign aid scheme in this country where we provide assistance to a variety of countries. Many people watching this now, you'll be shouting at your tellies. I know this, I speak to you every day. You'll be shouting now, saying enough. They don't want to accept any more so-called asylum seekers, many of whom, by the way, obviously are just economic migrants.
That's the point I was just about to make, is at the end of the day, when, like I said, you've got a population in Britain that has a...
Let's just go back to Sophie in Altrincham.
Well, Michelle, we are here still in Altrincham, as you rightly say, and you can see here behind me the original protest against the migrants in this hotel where we were just speaking from. But here on GB News, we do like to have some balance. So we've now come to the other side of the road, we've crossed that police boundary, and we're going to try and speak to some of the counter-protesters here, which could be a little bit dicey, but we'll see how we get on. Let's see if we can get any of them to speak to us. Excuse me, ladies, I just wondered if I could ask you. Sorry?
Your press lanyard.
I haven't got it with me. It's over there. Just no problem. No problem. Just take a look at this lovely sign. Very interesting, Michelle. We'll just keep moving. They're asking for my press credentials, which I unfortunately am not carrying with me right now. Excuse me. Do you mind if I ask why you're here at this counter protest? We're from GB News. No, that's absolutely fine. No problem at all. Excuse me, though. Sorry, excuse me. Do you mind me asking, sir, why you're here today?
See your NUJ badge?
I haven't got my NUJ with me, I'm afraid. They're very tight on credentials here on this particular counter-protest. They've asked me to go away. Of course, we do have a right to be here, Michelle, so we will continue to try and speak to some people. There's a lady here on a microphone. Oh, lots of cars beeping. There's a sign here, Salford Stand Up to Racism. I wonder if I could ask any of the people with this sign. Excuse me, sir. Yeah. I'm just being harangued here. Oh dear. Oh, it's become. I'm just going to get on the other side of the police line, Michelle. The police have.
Your side.
Excuse me. What do you mean? What do you mean our side, sir? Whoa! Oh! Ow! I've just. Michelle, I've just been hit by a placard on the head by one of these counter-protesters. We are just trying to give them the opportunity. Excuse me, ma'am. We are, of course, just trying to give them the opportunity to have their side. This is our security guard behind us. Police are now having to step in. We have now been assaulted by some of these counter-protesters. Oh, dearie me, that flag's being lowered onto us. Thank you for that, sir. Lovely song. Excellent choice. We're just going to step out, Michelle, because, as I said, things have gotten rather dicey. No one here willing to speak to us and give us their side of the story.
By a far-right placard. That's one for the books. I mean, what do we even say to that, ladies and gents? We're here. We're trying to present both sides of the protest to you. You've got eyes, ears, and common sense. You can make your own minds up on what you are seeing and what you are hearing. Going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Looking ahead to tomorrow, and the weather across southern Europe is looking pretty dry for most places, albeit a bit of rain is pushing across Madeira. Meanwhile, for Spain, Portugal and even France, the heat is continuing to build, so temperatures for some could be getting into the high 30s, maybe even low 40s through the weekend. Meanwhile, across parts of Italy, Greece, even into Turkey, lots of dry and hot weather here, and that's how the outlook is looking as well, staying largely sunny.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hi there, welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. The next 24 hours will be very mixed across the UK, clear with light winds in the south, whilst rain pushes into the far northwest, spreading southeastwards throughout much of Saturday. It's all tied in with this weather front, which is moving towards the northwest of Scotland during the evening, an area of low pressure bringing a strong breeze to the north and northwest of Scotland, as well as the heavy and persistent rain. Whilst it turns unsettled across parts of western and northern Scotland, as well as Northern Ireland overnight, it stays clear for southern Scotland, as well as much of England and Wales. Lighter winds towards the south, and with those light winds, it'll be a cool night with temperatures in some sheltered spots into the single figures. But a beautiful start to the weekend for England and Wales. For southeast Scotland as well, we'll see some early morning sunshine. Some sunshine reappearing at this stage for the northwest of Scotland, albeit with blustery showers moving in behind the main band of persistent rain. But if you're in Glasgow, Perth, Edinburgh, it is a wet start to the weekend. Some heavy rain and prolonged rain at that for the first couple of hours of the day. That's then clearing Northern Ireland. It's pushing into parts of northwest England, and it tends to trundle its way southwards, albeit slowly, before setting up shop across North Wales, Northern England during the morning, and it basically stops there, with outbreaks of rain becoming more limited to drizzle over hills. It's a damp picture through North Wales and Northern England. To the south of that, plenty of sunshine, mid-20s, feeling very warm indeed. It's going to turn hotter here over the next few days. To the north, it stays mixed with further showers for Scotland. And that's really the theme into Sunday as well. The north and west of Scotland seeing cloudy spells and some showers, not quite as heavy or as frequent as Saturday. Actually, a lot of fine and bright weather for Scotland on Sunday. Likewise for Northern Ireland, but the real heat is across England and Wales, where it turns increasingly hot into early next week, temperatures reaching the low to mid-30s in places.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good evening, this is the latest AI travel news from GBnews.com. The A92 Tay Road Bridge is closed to double-deck vehicles and has a 30 miles per hour speed limit due to strong winds. North Yorkshire's A1M southbound has 2 lanes closed, causing 1.5-hour delays. In Hampshire, a broken-down vehicle causes 50-minute delays on the A31 eastbound. Essex's A12 southbound is down to 1 lane due to a collision. The M5 southbound reports congestion. And on the trains, East Midlands Railway faces disruptions between Bedford and London St Pancras International and issues between Lincoln and Sleaford. Grand Central services are disrupted. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Dewbs & Co. with me, Michelle Dewberry, Judita De Silva and Charlie Downs. Bob has got in touch and said, Michelle, please can I take a second to point out that all these people crossing the channel are not all economic migrants. Some people are actually escaping war or bad situations, says Bob. From France, says Charlie. Sean says, Michelle, I'd be really interested to see how many of the anti-racist protesters would agree to commit to pay extra level of taxation and council tax in order to support these migrants. If they feel that they are so welcome, perhaps they would be happy to provide an extra little bit of money into the pot. Russ says, Michelle, I'm absolutely sick and tired of spending my money on housing these people. I'm not against legal migration, he says, as long as it's right for Britain. But there is this sense that comes through. We discuss this all the time, that sense of fairness. A second ago, we spoke to, didn't we, some people that are protesting, just normal people that said to the camera, I've never been out on a demonstration like this. This is a first for me, but I've got to the point where I need to stand up and make my voice heard. And one of the things that they were saying was that they feel like we are being taken for mugs. And the problem is, it feels like that to a lot of people, and don't be mistaken, the people that are making these crossings from the channel, you know, you can't blame them in some way. I mean, if you think about it, where they're coming from, the life that they've got, when someone then says to them, if you get on that not small boat, that massive dinghy, and you end up, if you can get halfway across the channel before you get picked up and ferried over, you get hotels, you get food, you get clothes, you get this. I mean, in some way, you can't blame them. Anyway, let's go back to Aldershot, Charlie Peters.
Well, welcome back to Aldershot, Michelle. A few hundred people behind me have been protesting for the last hour outside this hotel's the Potters International, which has been hosting asylum seekers for about 2 or 3 years now. To my left is the Stand Up to Racism counter protest. A lot of them wearing masks, Michelle. Hampshire Constabulary has not brought in a Section 60 order that would prevent mask wearing, as they have done in some areas. Now, I've spoken to many of the protesters at the concerned families against the asylum protesters, but I went inside the Stand Up to Racism protest early. Unfortunately, none of them wanted to speak to me. I'll show you some footage of what it was like when we tried to engage with them.
Those are Nazis, dude. The people organising their protests are Nazis. Some of the people involved in organising those protests are Nazis.
Who over there is a Nazi?
Homeland, you know there are parties involved.
I can't speak to you if your friend puts in.
Refugees are...
So nobody wants to speak to us here, unfortunately. We'll move around. This man thinks everyone's a Nazi, which is a shame. I'm allowed. I'm free. You can't assault me. You can't assault me. I'm allowed to move through. Don't assault me. So just one man wanted to speak to us very quickly, and all he wanted to say was that everyone over here are Nazis. Well, let's speak to some of the people who've been protesting. It's Marianne and Mandy, local Aldershot residents. Marianne, I'll start with you. What was your reaction when you heard that man describing you all as Nazis?
I think they need to get their head out the sand and do some research. They're traitors, as is our Prime Minister.
You don't think the Labour government are doing enough to deal with the small boats crisis?
No, I'm so frustrated and angry. They seem like they don't listen to us and they don't understand, they don't want to know.
And Mandy, you're a local Aldershot resident. Your father was in the parachute regiment. This is a proud military garrison town. What's it been like then, having this asylum hotel in the area?
It's been like, if you've got a daughter or granddaughters, and that, we're worried for them. We are. All what's been going on, nothing gets done, and we are worried for our daughters. Also, all these idiots across there are making all that noise in front of that building, where there's probably people trying to get their babies to sleep. So it just shows you what mentality they have. When we are peaceful here, we're peaceful.
Now, we've seen a lot of these protests around the country, a lot of mothers, a lot of women saying they're concerned about their children. Is that the same theme that you're hearing from others at this protest?
Absolutely, yes. That's what I'm worried about.
We've all got children, we've all got grandchildren. OK, they're there, but they put them near our schools, in hotels right opposite our schools. It's not good enough.
They work in the car washes up the road, they're walking all around the town, they're free to wander where they like, and it's just not safe for children to be out on their own.
Now, behind us, you have some police officers there. Now, we watched them march and escort these counter-protesters down the road. Some of them are wearing masks. And why do you think they're wearing masks?
Why have the police let them come down here? Why have they were right up the top of the road, so why have the police let them come down here with that little gap there between this group and that group? I mean, it's just ridiculous.
And Marianne, are you concerned about the mask wearing? We've seen it banned in Norwich tonight for a planned protest. An order has been come in and put in place, but people wearing masks, do you think that adds to the safety of the protest?
Well, I wonder what the police would say if we all wore masks. They seem much more wanting to, be violent towards us. So, I don't know why they're allowed to mask up.
And what do you think about the state of sort of safeguarding in Aldershot at the moment and concerns local people have? Are people telling you that they're looking over their shoulder, that they're a bit more nervous now than they were before the hotel turned up?
Yes, because it's so easy for them to get hold of young girls that are even just, in town doing what kids do. And they don't get charged for it. Nothing happens about it. They don't get sent back and they're here. Why are they here? There's no war where they are. And it does. It puts you on edge. It does.
Mandy, Marianne, thank you so much for speaking to GB News this evening. Well, Michelle, you've heard it here, haven't you, from so many of the other women we've spoken to at this protest today. They've got very clear concerns. They don't know the men in their local area. They don't know when they're going to leave. And they're not sure why people over there are calling them Nazis and wearing masks while they are doing it. Well, it's been a peaceful protest, Michelle. That's a relief, at least. The two groups separated by the police in the middle where we are. But a lot of anger on both sides, a lot of concern. I can't see these differences being settled, because if you are a mother in Aldershot, you can't look at those people and say, they're calling me a Nazi and a fascist. Well, all I'm saying is I'm concerned about my children.
Charlie Peters, excellent reporting. We'll stay with you, and we'll also stay with Sophie in Altrincham. I don't know how that guy, that fella, stands there with a straight face. How have you got the audacity? Because I bet my bottom dollar you are not from that local vicinity. I'd be happy to be proved wrong. How dare you rock up to these locations, look across the roads and call those mothers, those grandmothers, those people, all they want is their children to be able to live in their local neighbourhood, community, in relative peace and safety. How dare you rock up into these neighbourhoods with your stupid paid-for placards, covering your faces, don't get me started on that. Why are you allowed to do this? Go up to protesters, go and protest having your face concealed. Either side of the argument, that should be the first thing that's absolutely stopped. Anyway, look, the conversation continues after the break.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel. At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Dewbs and Kerr. Look, I'm getting a sentiment, and I feel it myself, that so many of you, one of you just got in touch, and I think you echo it, Michelle. My blood is boiling. It's Friday. There's only one thing for it. My Dewberry Tavern is open. I need this one tonight. Cheers to each and every single one of you and to my panel. Whilst I'm having a quick cheers, because I can tell you now the things that will be dominating the conversation in the pubs across the land this weekend will be these protests. Let me take you to Canary Wharf, because also there are scenes unfolding of protest. Here we go. This is the scenes right now. You'll all be familiar with the situation in Canary Wharf now. You've got the hotel there. I think this is one, the Britannia one. And of course, you know the scenes there. They're echoed up and down the country. Local people have had enough of it. Not on our watch. Not in our communities, is what they are saying across the land. Charlie Downs, look, the time flies. Your final thoughts on all of this?
Well, I think all of this, it's a second-order consequence of a far more fundamental issue, which is our government's, for decades at this point, inability to deal with the problems of both legal and illegal immigration. Because whilst these protests are happening outside of asylum hotels, a large part of it, as was shown by YouGov polling this week, is fueled not just by concerns, fears and anger around illegal immigration, but also legal immigration. And I think that these protests are an expression of that as well. And until we get a handle on that issue, until we stop having open borders for both legal and illegal migrants in this country, these scenes are only going to get worse. They're going to get more violent, they're going to get more widespread, and that's not a good thing, but that is what's going to happen.
Judita, final thoughts?
Final thoughts are, first of all, regarding the ire on both sides. What you have to understand is, take accountability from both sides. When you've had a situation which you've seen echoed in all the ladies you've interviewed, where they're scared for their children, they don't know these men, where are these men coming from, there has been an overt branding of Muslim men as criminals, rapists and murderers. There are British Muslims who have had to sit back and actually listen to something that is precious to them, something they call their identity, be co-opted to represent paedophilia, rape and murder. How would you feel? For the same reason they have every right to be offended when people just brandish all of them as far right. Other people have a right to feel offended when you brandish all of them as rapists and paedophiles and murderers, because they are not. If someone commits a heinous crime
said that all Muslims are rapists and murderers. I've never heard anyone say that.
That is the rhetoric around immigrants.
But I've never heard anyone say that. Who is saying that?
If every woman you've spoken to has said, I'm concerned for my daughters, all these unknown men are coming.
Yeah.
And they come from a culture that, they're basically referencing a Muslim culture. It is inherently indicating that you believe that it is tantamount to these men being violent towards your girl.
If somebody comes from a culture where they don't respect women and they see women as less than, then surely you should be able to say that.
Some, not all. Because
but who said all?
In the sentence you've just said, there is no demarcation that there is a tendency that some or a percentage of, whenever these discussions are had, you have to be honest that there is a tarring with a singular brush of all those peoples. And that would be frustrating. And you know it's frustrating because you feel the same thing when everyone's called fascist or right-wing. With regarding the actual refugees or asylum seekers coming in, look at the nature of the country. You have a country where there are jobs that need to be filled that the indigenous population do not want to do, be it for less money or so on. They serve a very practical purpose, but the right people should be brought in to do so.
Elaine has got in touch and said, how biased white people rape people as well. Yes, they do, Elaine, and absolutely nobody is comfortable with rapists, whatever their skin colour are. And by the way, when you think that people only care about child sex abuse if it is done by a brown person, you've clearly never been on an estate where someone has got wind of the fact that a white paedophile lives in a house, because I assure you, the windows of that property and all the rest of it and the occupants of that house, they're not there for very long. So if you think this is just people having an issue with the skin colour of the perpetrators, with respect, you are wrong. Now, the protests will be continuing throughout the night and into the weekend. I want every single protest to be peaceful, be passionate, be loud, make your voices heard, but do it with respect, do it with dignity. Do not allow yourself to be wound up. That is my advice. Violence solves nothing. Up next, Lee Anderson's show. He will be continuing the conversation about immigration. I'll see you on Monday. Have a good weekend. No nights.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good evening. This is the latest AI travel news from GBNews.com. Motorists on M90 Friarton Bridge should take care due to high winds. M4 westbound at junction 42, Earlswood is fully closed for construction. In North Yorkshire, A1M southbound has an incident with one of 3 lanes closed, causing a 1-hour delay. Congestion persists on A57 westbound between junctions with A628 and M67. M25 clockwise between junction 29 and 30 in Thurrock sees 20 minutes of congestion. And on the trains, major disruptions affect East Midlands Railway and Grand Central services. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
This is your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for an entire year. We'll give you a cash lump sum that will cover 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, up to an incredible £20,000. Plus, we'll add £5,000 on top of that for you to treat yourself. You have to hurry though, as lines will close on the 29th of August. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dewbs, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel. Welcome to Lee Anderson's Real World. Tonight on the show we've got political commentator and author Emma Wolfe. She's going head-to-head with former Labour Party advisor Matthew Torbitz. We've got country singer Alan Tyler and social media influencer Dinusha Ilan Paruma. But first, let's go to the news.
Very good evening to you. It's 7 o'clock. I'm Aaron Armstrong. A schoolboy who stabbed another people to death on their lunch break has been found guilty of murder. Harvey Wilgoose was stabbed in the heart by another 15-year-old boy who'd brought a hunting knife to school. Sheffield Crown Court heard how other pupils fled in fear and panic after the fatal attack at All Saints Catholic High School in Sheffield on the 3rd of February. Well, the defendant, who can't be named because of his age, admitted manslaughter but denied murder, saying he snapped after a long period of bullying and does not remember the incident. Well, the jury found him guilty of murder by a majority of 11-1 after 14 hours of deliberation. Germany says it's suspending military exports to Israel in response to Benjamin Netanyahu's plan to take control of Gaza City. The proposal, which would displace around 1 million residents, is being seen as the first phase of a full takeover of the entire strip. Sir Keir Starmer says it will only bring more bloodshed, labelling it wrong and urging the Israeli government to reconsider. The plan has received widespread international condemnation, although it has not been opposed by the White House. During a meeting with the US Vice President at his residence in Kent, the Foreign Secretary David Lammy said the situation there is of great concern.
What we all want to see is a ceasefire. What we all want to see are the hostages come out. And we are hugely concerned by the humanitarian suffering that we're seeing in Gaza particularly. So it is bringing that to an end that we want to see. I am concerned about what is developing in Gaza at this time and the recent decision by the cabinet, and hugely concerned, as I think a lot of Israeli people are, about the impact, particularly on the hostages.
An investigation into allegations South Yorkshire police officers took part in historical sexual exploitation in Rotherham will now be carried out by the National Crime Agency. The allegations were being investigated by the force itself, leading to criticism over a potential conflict of interest. 5 women have come forward to say they were exploited by grooming gangs in the town when they were children, and they say they were also abused sexually by police officers. So far, 3 former officers who worked for the force have been arrested. The police watchdog, has said transferring the investigation may provide further reassurance to victim survivors. A 4-year-old boy has died after being hit by a bus outside a hospital in Kent. Police were called to the collision outside the Queen Elizabeth Queen Mother Hospital in Ramsgate just after 4 p.m. yesterday. The boy was hit by a white single-decker bus near the entrance to the A&E department. He was taken inside, where he was pronounced dead shortly after. Police are urging anyone with relevant information to come forward.